About Teshi sisters' flower. This article takes the three sisters with strange life experiences as the main characters, telling how to go through hardships, plan to deal with them, and gradually become strong. The various gods and demons in the text have absorbed numerous foreign mythological elements, such as Christian mythology, ancient Greek mythology, ancient Egyptian mythology, ancient Nordic mythology, Middle Eastern mythology, and even American mythology. Among them, the Battle of the New and Old Protoss in Taixi Continent hinted at the transformation of faith in the European continent from a polytheistic system to a monotheistic system. The extension of church power to various countries in Tahitia reflects the era of divine supremacy in medieval Europe and also satirizes the darkness and corruption of the church. The stereotype of the Holy Mountain school of witchcraft and wizardry implies that the modern Western university system originated from church theology, and also satirizes the rigid and misleading political correctness. The history and changes of the countries in Taixi Island are in line with the origin and prosperity of European countries, and also reflect the inevitable progress of human society. In addition, the Siam Khanate and Beredinstein in Tongluo Island respectively reflect the Eastern nomadic civilization and agricultural civilization. 1. The God of New and Old. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In the distant universe, there is a planet full of magical powers. There are 5 continents on this planet, forming 5 continents. Located in the center is the largest island of Taixi, with an area of over 30 million square kilometers. In the middle is the highest mountain range, with its summit covered in pure white ice and snow, known as the Holy Mountain. Surrounded by vast mountain forests, countless rivers flow out of the Holy Mountain and run in all directions, forming flat plains with fertile soil. The eastern part of Taixi Island is an endless plain, which is formed by the impact of the longest river in Taixi Island, the Blue River, and many other rivers. The Blue River originates from the Holy Mountain, and its source is the melting water of its ice and snow. This type of water is particularly pure, winding through the mountains and plains. Against the backdrop of the mountain forests and plain grasslands on both sides, it presents a color similar to lapis lazuli, hence the name Blue River. There are 3 major peninsulas in the southern part of Tahitia, and 1 in the northern part. These peninsulas have hills and mountains, creating the long and winding coastline of Tahitia. In the western part of Taixi Island, there are the largest islands and dozens of smaller ones. These islands are humid and rainy all year round, with a warm climate. Taixi Island is home to humans and numerous flora and fauna, and they are ruled by the divine race. The highest deity of the Taixi Protoss is called Titan, with a total of 3 Titans. Sky Gulick, Ocean Philo, and Abyss Iron. According to legend, when the Titans gained control of Tahitia, they drew lots for the distribution of power. Gulick captures the sky, Philo captures the ocean, Ironlike captures the abyss, and Tahitia is ruled by 3 Titans together. There are 60 gods serving these 3 Titans, and 3,000 Ningfu serving the gods. In addition, there are many monsters that serve the Protoss. For example, the Pegasus is Gulick's mount, the mermaid and the sea monster are Philo's carts in the ocean, and the 3-headed dog and the necromancer are Iron Train guarding the abyss together. There are also centaurs and tauren who fight against the gods, while the giant wild boar Calyodon and scorpion-tailed lion are used for hunting by the gods, the banshee, the snake-haired banshee, and the sisters Greer, who share 1 eye and 1 tooth, often do some shameful murders for the Protoss. To the east of Taixi Island is the closest Tongluo Island. In fact, Taixi Island is connected to the continent of Tongluo Island, with a narrow bridge mountain as the boundary in the north and a deep abyss with no bottom in the water as the boundary in the south. The northern part of Tongluo Island is the Xiamu Grassland. There are countless galloping horses and nomadic tribes on the grassland, who believe in shamanism and the existence of spirits in all things. The southern part of Tongluo Island is composed of deserts, oases, and high mountains. Oasis is suitable for cultivating various crops such as rice, wheat, cotton, etc. Here, the earliest cities emerged, and people used clay tablets to work and accumulated rich knowledge. The most knowledgeable are the Tongluo sorcerers, who spend their days studying various knowledge from clay tablets in the high towers of the Tower City. It is said that the sorcerers discovered a magical light pot, inside which lived a lamp god who could fulfill human wishes, but at a great cost. The sorcerers also invented the Ring of God, which can summon the ring god to serve them. When the sorcerer travels, he rides on a flying carpet. To the south of Taixi Island, separated by the warm sea, is Sulla Island. The highest ruling deity in Sulla is the Nine Pillars god. To the north of Taixi Island, separated by the cool sea, is Sna Island. There are 9 realms on the continent of Sna, commanded by gods and giants. The gods of Taixi have frequent interactions with the gods of Sulla and Sna, and they have established friendly relationships. To the west of Taixi Island is the only ocean in the world. On the other side of the ocean is the continent of Gore. The ocean is very vast and often experiences storms, also known as the storm ocean. Few people are able to sail to the other side of the ocean, the continent of Gore. It is said that only a few pirates have ever reached the continent of Gore. It is said that the god who ruled the continent of Gore was called Suffolk, with a total of 3 suffix named Indi, Uther, and Gol. Suffolk created many humanoid creatures using jewelry and metal to replace them in their work. There are also magical creatures such as giant spirits, hell beasts, spider humans, and winged humans on Gaorzhou. The humans on the continent of Taixi were ruled by the Taixi gods. They must hand over half of the food, woven clothing, and created wealth they work hard to obtain every day, and offer them to the Taixi gods in a temple for worship. Otherwise, the Protoss will bring floods, droughts, thunderstorms, and earthquakes, or send centaurs, tauren, or other monsters to harm humans. I don't know how long I have been ruled by the Taixi gods like this. In short, after several vicissitudes, there is no sign of improvement for the humans on Taixi Island. One day, a bright meteor crossed the night sky and fell to a village on the plain northwest of Mount Taixi in Taixi Island. Coincidentally, a baby boy was born in this village, and the elders in the village named him Lomas. Coincidentally, 3 Tongluo sorcerers followed the trajectory of the meteor and arrived at this village. They knelt down to Lomas when they saw him in swaddling clothes. The warlock in the middle said, "True gods have descended, humans have saved us." "We follow the holy light," said the wizard on the left. "The holy light guides the path of light." "What I see today, acquiring knowledge," said the sorcerer on the right, "is better than 1,000 clay tablets." The 3 sorcerers knelt and stood up, each taking out a bottle of holy water to give to the baby boy Lomas to drink. These 3 bottles of holy water are the water of wisdom, the water of love, and the water of courage. Then, the sorcerers left the village on a flying carpet and quickly disappeared. Little Lomas presented many miracles. When he was 3 years old, he floated alone across the ocean and saw 3 Sophics from Gore Island. Suffolk gave him many gemstones, but he only selected 10 of them. UU reading www.uukangshu.net includes diamonds, rubies, sapphires, emeralds, opals, amethysts, pearls, amber, agates, and jadeite, which he brought back to Thailand. When Lomas grew up, he decided to overthrow the rule of the Taixi gods and declared war on them. At first, the gods didn't take it seriously and sent horse and ox-headed men to deal with him. As a result, all the horses and tauren sent out were killed by Lomas. The gods had no choice but to send gods and ningfu, bringing numerous monsters to fight against Lomas. Faced with numerous enemies, Lomas felt tired and created 4 angels, named Nija, Phaedon, Ekui, and Lephu. These angels replaced Lomas in battle, making Lomas much easier. Titan Gulick and Philo saw that the angels were powerful, and many gods and ningfu had already been killed. They personally went on stage and injured the angels. Lomas rescued the injured angel while worrying about how to deal with the Titan. The sorcerer from Tongluo Island came to help Lomas with earth elements, water elements, fire elements, and wind elements. Sky Titan Gulick saw that Lomas had a helper, so he asked the gods to go to Sulla and Sna to invite the gods from these two continents to help. Lomas and the elementals were unable to compete with the divine tribes of the three continents, and they fought and retreated. At this time, Suffolk from Gore sent an army of giants and humanoid creatures created with jewelry and metal to assist. The power of a giant comes from the earth, and no matter how much damage it receives, as long as it touches the earth, it will fully recover with blood. The humanoid creatures made of jewelry and metal are painless and fearless, bravely advancing against the rain of swords and arrows. The war has returned to a stalemate. The war of gods will affect humanity, and if it is not ended soon, it will bring catastrophic disasters to humanity. Lomas needed new reinforcements to end the war as soon as possible, and he shifted his focus to the weak humans. Can these weak humans help Lomas? Please take a look at the next section. 2. Top 10 Gemstones. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In order to join the camp of Lomas, Lomas promised to give the 10 precious stones to humans. These 10 gemstones are the diamonds, rubies, sapphires, emeralds, cat's eyes, amethysts, pearls, amber, agates, and jadeite obtained by Lomas in Gorzu. After Lomas' transformation, they contain rich magic and powerful functions. At the same time, it can also make weak humans stronger. The 10 jewels have a strong temptation for the humans of Tahitia, and they gladly accept Lomas and join the struggle against the Tahitian gods. When humans use the power of the 10 jewels to deal with gods and Ningfu, the scale of victory tilts towards the Lomas camp. The gods from Sulla and Sna saw this and fled first, returning to their respective continents. The ocean titan Philo believed that the Taixi Protoss had lost. He jumped into the sea, calling for thousands of sea monsters to protect him, and fled to Gaorzhou. He witnessed the ability of a giant spirit to recover upon contact with the earth, and hoped to go to Gaorzhou to unravel the secret of this ability. Lomas, along with the angels Phaedon, Iki, and Lefyu, besieged the sky titan Gulick and went through 4 battles before finally capturing him. Angel Nija, Tongluo Warlock, and various elements captured the abyss titan Tai Litong alive. After Tai Litong was captured, his gaze was fixed on the angel Nija's eyes and he said, "You crave power, greed and fear will double your power." The nearby Tongluo sorcerer quickly reminded Nija, saying, "Don't be tempted by the abyss. Greed and fear will lead you towards destruction." Nija woke up and Tai Litong couldn't escape. Lomas decided to imprison Gulick, Tai Litong, and other captured deities, Ningfu, at the bottom of the Great Abyss. He and the angels built a large prison at the bottom of the abyss, and appointed the Cyclops and the 100-armed sea monsters as the guards of the abyss, guarding the imprisoned Taixi Old Protoss. Lomas became the new god of Tahitia and the only god. According to the agreement, he left the 10 precious stones to humanity. Humans who possess gemstones gradually formed 10 countries. A group of people who own diamonds, establish Irunia, a group of people with rubies, establish Galgan, a group of people with sapphires, establish Kasama, a group of people with emeralds, establish Breland, a group of people who own cat's eye stones, establish Aferity, a group of people with amethysts, establish a Selman, a group of people with pearls, establish Opal, a group of people with amber, establish Veneros. People who own agates, establish Bohemics, a group of people who own jade. Establish Opatine. In order to thank humanity for helping the god of Lomas, Lomas approved the establishment of a magic academy on the Holy Mountain for humans to learn magic and become magicians. Those who have successfully cultivated themselves into wizards can enjoy the same longevity as gods. Since the establishment of the Holy Mountain School of Witchcraft and Wizardry, only 7 people have truly become wizards. They are Austin from Ironia, Ivan from Van Roos, Maria from Opatine, Nikolai from Breland, Jonathan from Kasama, Cruz from Galgan, and Lolita from Ferity. Lomas is the only true god in Tahi, and in order to make the people of Tahi only believe in Lomas, he established a church for them. The Church has established rules to regulate the believers to worship Lomas and offer prayers and sacrifices to Lomas, spread the gospel of Lomas around. All those who believe in other gods are heretical and must be eliminated. Diamonds are the noblest gemstones, and the Iranians who possess diamonds not only rule over the region, but also manage religious activities in other regions of Tahitia through the Church. Lomas sent 4 angels to assist humanity in building a large number of churches. Angel Faden recruited a large number of stone monsters to protect churches in various places. For the surviving Old Protoss deities, Nenfu, and monsters on the continent of Taixi, the 4 angels will also search everywhere and detain them in Tartaro prison located in Opidine. Nija is the most outstanding of the 4 angels. Not only did he capture Titan Tylitong alive in the New Old God War, but he also captured a large number of surviving Old God races after the war. In Tartaro prison, most of the former members of the Protoss were captured by Nija. However, the search for the old gods is endless, and it is unclear when all the old gods will be captured. Nija began to feel dissatisfied with the new god. He was the most powerful angel and had the greatest credit, so he hoped to gain the same power and status as the god Lomas. Nija remembered what the Abyssal Titans had said to him, that greed and fear could increase his power countless times. The greed for power and status swelled in his heart, and he wanted to bring endless fear to others so that he could become stronger and be on equal footing with the god Lomas. Angel Nija has fallen. He challenged Lomas and was eventually driven into a volcano located in the warm sea. Later, this volcano became known as the Fallen Volcano, where the fallen angel Nija created a large number of demons and fairies. Yu reading www.yuukangshu.net. These demons and fairies run to various parts of Taixi Island, indiscriminately slaughtering, bringing fear and sorrow to humanity. The fallen angel Nija also connected with other forces in Tahitia, including witches, druids, orcs, undead, goblins, vampires, werewolves, and dungeons. They were all forced by the powerful Nija and swore allegiance to him. In order to prevent the harm of the fallen angels to humanity, Lomas sent angels Faden, Ikui, and Lefu to guard the fallen volcano to prevent the fallen angels from leaving. At the same time, angels Ikui and Lefu created the Griffin and trained some human warriors to become Griffin Knights. The task of the Griffin Knight is to fight against the evil forces of the fallen angels and protect human safety. Witches live in the forest and are skilled in making potions with various functions. After accepting the leadership of the fallen angels, the witches became ugly and mischievous, with wrinkles on their faces, sharp and yellow teeth, hooked noses, deep sunken eyes, hunched backs, and often muttering to themselves, flying back and forth on brooms. There is a witch named Medea who is very dissatisfied with her appearance. She wanted to become beautiful. After countless experiments, she found that consuming fresh human blood combined with her own specially developed potions could improve her appearance. The more blood she consumes, the younger and more beautiful she will become. After drinking the blood of countless people, Medea had become as beautiful as a human woman. But as long as she doesn't drink human blood for a period of time, she will grow old. She is very concerned about her appearance and must come up with better ways to maintain her youthfulness. At this moment, a surviving Ningfu hid in the forest where Medea lived. Medea discovered this Ningfu. Would it be more effective if she could consume Ningfu's blood? So she came up with the idea of Ningfu. I don't know what Ningfu's fate is like. Please take a look at the next section. 3. White Witch. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The witch Medea found Ningfu in distress in the forest and walked over to ask, Ningfu goddess, why did you come to this forest in a hurry? Ningfu saw that Medea was a young girl and said, why don't you tell your kind-hearted girl that the Titan has fallen and all the gods and Ningfu have suffered? The angels of Lomas and the magicians of the Holy Mountain are everywhere capturing our surviving and lonely old gods. I am just an ordinary Ningfu, and I only serve tea, water, cooking, and food to the gods on a daily basis. Occasionally, I perform songs and dances for the gods. I have never killed humans or done anything bad. But just because of my identity as Ningfu, the angels and magicians are going to pursue me. I could only run aimlessly and come to this closed forest, losing my way. My body is tired and hungry, and I am constantly worried. Don't be afraid, Medea said. My house is not far ahead. Please let Ningfu stay at my house. This way, you can avoid the pursuit of the angels, and you can also eat some food and rest. Ningfu accepted Medea's proposal and followed her to her treehouse. Medea cooked several dishes to entertain Ningfu, adding her developed anesthetic to the dishes. Ningfu was unaware of the fraud involved and was drugged after eating the dishes made by Medea. Medea took out a dagger and cut a wound on Ningfu's body. She used a container to collect the dripping blood and prepared it with a special potion. Medea drank Ningfu's fresh blood and immediately became radiant, feeling a significant increase in energy and strength in her body. Medea walked up to the mirror and admired her beautiful appearance alone, enjoying her enhanced witch abilities, very satisfied. She began to refer to herself as a white witch and turned other witches into black witches. Afterwards, for fleeing Ningfu fell into Medea's trap, and their blood was consumed by Medea, making her more beautiful and stronger. Medea became the most beautiful and strongest witch, and she also defeated the black witch Maya, who claimed to be the strongest witch, to occupy her treehouse. Maya could only hastily escape. Moreover, the wizards of the Holy Mountain School of Witchcraft and Wizardry were commissioned by the angels to assist in capturing the surviving deities and Ningfu. Magician Ivan received intelligence that many Ningfu were hiding in the Black Forest on the north slope of the Holy Mountain. He decided to go to this rarely visited forest. Unknowingly, Ivan walked into the depths of the forest. He couldn't find a Ningfu, and just as he was feeling lost, he met a tall, fair-skinned, blonde, and blue-eyed young woman. As a seasoned magician, Ivan has read countless people and has never seen such a beautiful woman before. And Ivan, with her charming demeanor, is definitely the handsome gentleman in the hearts of countless women. Both sides fell in love at first sight. They live in this forest, living a leisurely life of clouds and wild cranes. This woman is the White Witch Medea. Just 1,000 years after the new god Lomas defeated the old gods, Ivan and Medea gave birth to a daughter named Alice. Medea was delighted to see that Alice's appearance was completely human, without any ugliness like a black witch. This indicates that Medea has completely freed herself from the association of the black witch and will not involve her children. When Alice grows up, she must let Ivan impart magical knowledge and secretly pass on the witch's magic to her. However, this is only Medea's beautiful vision. There is a black witch who does not want to see Medea live a happy and beautiful life. She is Maya, who has been occupied by Medea in the treehouse. Maya was defeated by Medea and has been looking for opportunities to seek revenge. She witnessed Medea's strength and knew that she couldn't fight hard, she could only gain wisdom. Later on, it was heard that Medea had found a successful husband, which made her even more resentful. But when she learned that Medea's lover was a magician from the Holy Mountain School of Witchcraft and Wizardry, she was overjoyed. Although the wizards of the Holy Mountain consider witches to be heretical cults, some of them violate the rules of the School of Witchcraft and Wizardry, engage in romantic relationships with witches, and even give birth to offspring, which is a more serious problem. So, at the risk of being killed by the wizards, Maya broke through numerous obstacles and came to the entrance of the School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. She reported information on the illegal activities and current location of the magician Ivan to the School of Witchcraft and Wizardry, in exchange for the magician's promise not to embarrass her. The Holy Mountain School of Witchcraft and Wizardry dispatched all the wizards, including Austin, who possessed the magic ball, Maria, who could control dreams, Nicholas, who could clone, Jonathan, who could summon the power of nature, Cruz, who could transform, and Lolita, who could communicate with animals and plants, all to the outside of the Ivan and Medea tree house. Yu reading www.yuukeangshu.net. Ivan noticed that all the wizards from the School of Witchcraft and Wizardry had arrived, and he knew that he could not defeat these wizards on his own. In a moment of desperation, Ivan used his ultimate skill to teleport Medea and 6-month-old Alice to another place in an instant. Ivan originally wanted to teleport along with himself, but he was sucked in by Austin's magic ball and couldn't teleport. Ivan was captured by the magicians and imprisoned in the underground prison of the School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. Medea and Alice's mother and daughter were transported by Ivan to a vast desert, from a comfortable and pleasant forest to a dry and hot desert, where they found it difficult to adapt to the environment. They lost their way in the strong sandstorm, hungry and thirsty. On Medea's body, there were only a few potions left that could cast a limited amount of witch magic. She used a potion to keep little Alice cool, reduce water loss in her body, and prevent direct sunlight exposure. Medea lacks medicinal protection and endures the torment of the desert. Over time, Medea experienced a phenomenon of collapse. She seemed to see a lake appear in front of them, and when she walked over, she realized it was just a mirage. In despair, Medea passed out, and little Alice cried on the side. It's also a never-ending journey, and a sorcerer happened to pass by nearby. He heard little Alice's crying and followed her footsteps. He saw a baby girl crying and picked it up. I saw another unconscious woman next to me, who was very beautiful. He thought to himself that this must be a gift from heaven for this mother and daughter, so he carried them onto a flying carpet and sent them to the nearby desert tower city. When Medea woke up, she saw that the sorcerer had prepared abundant food for the two mother and daughter. The castle where she is located is composed of many pointed towers. Where is this place, and who is this sorcerer? Please take a look at the next section. 4. Tacheng Life. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The sorcerer who saved Medea and Alice was named Ibn Sina, and he lived in the tower city in the desert. There are many pointed towers in the tower city, inside which are placed a large number of clay tablets, which record various knowledge. Among them, magic books that record various magic mnemonics are placed high and strictly protected. It has been 1,000 years since the birth of the god Lomas and the three sorcerers who helped the new god defeat the old god, and they have long passed away. The sorcerers have been passed down for several generations, and in this generation, they are led by Ibn Hayyang, Ibn Sina, and Ibn Nasu, who respectively live in the oasis, desert, and high mountains of Beredinstein in Tacheng, and specialize in studying the knowledge in Tacheng clay tablets. There are a total of 3 divine rings in Tongluo Island, with Ibn Hayyang, Ibn Sina, and Ibn Nasu each owning one. They can summon the ring god from the god's ring to serve them. As the highest sorcerer, Ibn Hayyang also preserves the magical light pot and the lamp god inside. The sorcerer Ibn Sina warmly welcomed Medea and Alice, and he used his rich knowledge to explore their mother and daughter. He found that Medea had a strong witch-like aura, but she didn't look like a witch at all, more like a charming human woman. And Alice has the characteristics of a holy mountain wizard, but also contains a hint of witch characteristics. Ibn Sina said, "How could you have the scent of a witch on your mother and daughter?" Medea was initially taken aback, then calmed down and put on a pitiful look, saying, "Master, have mercy on our mother and daughter who have suffered so much. We were originally a peasant girl by the Blue River in Taixi Island, and our child's father was killed by a witch when he went hunting. These evil witches didn't kill my husband enough, they even found us and forced us to drink the strange potion they made, and then we were sent to this desert. Perhaps it was because we drank the witch potion, Master, that you felt the scent of a witch on us." Under normal circumstances, Ibn Sina would not believe such a flawed lie, but he couldn't resist Medea's pitiful appearance and voice, so he stopped delving deeper. After spending a long time together, Ibn Sina found that he had developed a special desire to protect and cherish Medea. This emotion grew deeper and deeper, and Ibn Sina couldn't figure out what he was feeling. So he searched for the knowledge recorded in the clay tablets in the tower, but couldn't find any relevant content. Later, Ibn Sina finally understood that this was love. So Ibn Sina proposed to Medea. Medea couldn't figure out if Ibn Sina was sincere. When she saw the ring on Ebencena's hand, she said, "If you give me this ring, I will promise to marry you." This ring is a divine ring, but Ebencena agreed without hesitation and immediately took off the divine ring, putting it on Medea's right ring finger. "Tell her again that this is the ring of the gods, and then teach her how to summon the ring god to serve the owner of the ring." Medea was overjoyed and began to genuinely admire the sorcerer Ebencena, no longer feeling sad about losing the magician Ivan. Medea gave birth to two girls named Elena and Helena for Ebencena. Ebencena takes care of Elena and Helena, and equally loves Alice. Because Alice is intelligent and clever, she often helps Ebencena organize the clay books in the tower. When Ebencena needs to search for a clay edition book related to knowledge, she always asks Alice where to put it first, and Alice can always find the corresponding clay edition book. Alice also took this opportunity to learn a lot of magic knowledge. She is indeed the daughter of a magician, and she learns magic very quickly and masters skills. In addition, Medea sometimes takes Alice's three sisters on a flying carpet to a desolate place and secretly teaches them some witches' magic, but never tells them that they are witches. When Alice was 16 years old, she had basically learned all the magic recorded in the clay tablets in Tower City, and Medea had nothing more to teach her. Alice felt a bit uninteresting, so she went to study the last clay edition book that she had not yet understood. This clay edition book is recorded in ancient cuneiform script, which Alice couldn't quite understand and was tired of teaching her how to recognize cuneiform script. Ebencena couldn't resist Alice's teasing, and he also had a great love for her, so he took some time out of his busy schedule to teach Alice how to recognize cuneiform characters. When Alice learned cuneiform writing, she went to read the clay plate book recorded in cuneiform writing. It turns out that over 1,000 years ago, the sorcerers from Tongluo Island brought the four elements to Taixi Island to assist the god Lomas in defeating the old divine race. Alice became interested in the four major elements, and she had never heard Ebencena mention them before. Alice asked Ebencena, "Father, do you know what elements are?" Ebencena smiled and said, "Of course I know. There are four elements in total: earth, water, fire, and wind. All matter in the world is composed of these four elements. Only. What is it?" Alice asked urgently. "Only the elements on the elemental island enable the extraction of pure single elements," Ebencena said. "They can also manipulate these elements." "So where is Element Island?" Elemental Island is at the southernmost point of the great abyss between Tora and Taishi. Alice longed to go to the elemental island and play with the elements now. After thinking for a while, she asked Ebencena again, "Father, can you manipulate the elements?" "Oh, my father doesn't know." But according to the clay plate book, it is recorded that the sorcerer of Tongluo brought elements to Taixi Island to help Lomas defeat the old gods, Alice said. That was a sorcerer from 1,000 years ago, and that generation of sorcerers was the strongest sorcerers. They knew everything and could do anything. However, later on, a lot of knowledge was lost, including how to manipulate elements, Ebencena said, shrugging his shoulders. Alice was a bit disappointed, so she went to her mother Medea and told her about the elements. "I really want some elements," Alice coquettishly said. Medea heard information about the elements and decided to take the risk of stealing them. One is to fulfill Alice's wish, and the other is to enhance her strength through elements. In case she encounters a wizard from Holy Mountain Academy in the future, she can also compete. Medea secretly took a flying carpet and arrived at Elemental Island. I wonder if Medea can succeed. Please take a look at the next section. 5. Yuansu Island. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Elemental Island is located at the southernmost point of the Great Abyss between Taishi and Tongluo. The main name of Elemental Island is Elemen, and there are four elemental masters under his seat, namely Earth Elemental Masters Soyu, Water Elemental Masters Wat, Fire Elemental Masters Phil, and Wind Elemental Masters Guys. Elemental Island has always been an independent force in the world, defeated by the strongest generation of sorcerers over 1,000 years ago and promised to serve them. That generation of sorcerers borrowed elements from them to fight against the Taixi Old Protoss. This is the first and only time that the element has left the Element Island. When the strongest generation of sorcerers passed away one after another, the island owners and elemental guides of Elemental Island returned to an independent and isolated life. That evening, Medea rode on a flying carpet and arrived over Elemental Island. She saw 4 huge elements on the island, containing powerful energy. Medea thought to herself that the elements were so powerful that she might not be able to control them. During her contemplation, she saw guys taking care of a stingy element. This stingy element is as big as a human child, and it doesn't have much power on its body. So, Medea came from it. As night fell, Medea wiped the divine ring on her hand, and a ring god appeared. "Is there anything I can do for you, Master?" asked the ring god. "Bring me all the small elements on this elemental island," said Medea. The ring god flew towards the elemental island, and in an instant, he brought many small elements. Medea counted a total of 2 earth elements, 3 water elements, 4 fire elements, and 5 gas elements. Medea was delighted and placed all the small elements on the flying carpet, controlling it to fly back to the tower city of Ibn Sina. When Elemental Island discovered that all the small elements were missing, the island owner and the elements made them very angry. Island owner Element said, "Why are all the small elements on the island missing?" The water element made Walter say, "I think someone stole these elements." The irritable element of fire made Fairy say, "Who is so bold to steal my element? I want him to be reduced to ashes." The gas element made Gas say, "Yesterday evening, I seemed to see a young and beautiful woman sitting on a flying carpet flying around the island." "Only sorcerers ride the flying carpet," said Soyu, the earth elemental envoy. "That must be the sorcerer stealing our element." "I will burn these sorcerers to death," said Phil. "But I have never heard of a sorceress," Walter said, "or is this the work of a witch from Tahitia?" Islander Element closed his eyes and explored with all his heart, then opened his eyes and said, "I feel the ring god of Warlock Ibn Sina, who stole the small element." "What are you waiting for?" Guys said, "We're taking the elements and heading towards Desert Tower City now." "Wait a minute," said Element, "Guys, first tell me what the woman sitting on the flying carpet you saw yesterday looks like." Guys described the beauty of Medea he saw. After hearing this, Element pondered for a moment and said, "We will take the elemental with us to kill. Although we can defeat Ibn Sina, Ibn Haiyang and Ibn Nasu will not let us go. The light pot in Ibn Haiyang's hand is invincible, and we cannot bear it. What should we do? Is our elemental island going to suffer from this kind of anger?" Phil shouted loudly. "Of course we have to vent our anger," said Element. "However, if we let others act in their names, Ibn Haiyang and Ibn Nasu will not find us if they want to settle accounts. Who will deal with the sorcerers for us?" Soyu asked. "A few years ago, I attended the 1000th anniversary celebration of the School of Witchcraft and Wizardry at Mount Taixi," Elmon said. "I didn't see the wizard Ivan. With such a grand celebration, the wizard couldn't have been absent. So I told the great wizard Austin about my doubts. It turned out that Ivan had an affair with a witch, broke the rules, and was imprisoned by the School of Witchcraft and Wizardry." Element smiled and continued, "I can be certain from Guy's description of the woman riding on the flying carpet that this woman is Medea, the white witch who has an affair with Ivan." "Oh," smart Walter said, "does the island owner want the wizards from the Holy Mountain School of Witchcraft and Wizardry to come forward?" "Exactly." Element's face showed a strange smile. Element wrote a letter to the Holy Mountain School of Witchcraft and Wizardry, stating that they had discovered Medea's whereabouts and that Medea had stolen our element. Now, Elemental Island sincerely requests the help of the wizards from the School of Witchcraft and Wizardry, with each side taking their own needs. The wizards will capture Medea, and Elemental Island will retrieve the element. Austin, the great wizard of the Holy Mountain School of Witchcraft and Wizardry, personally came to Elemental Island. After learning about the situation, he and the elemental masters of Elemental Island brought 4 elements to the tower city of the sorcerer Ibn Sina. UU reading www.uukangshu.net. Besides, Medea returned to the tower city of Ibn Sina with the little elements. Ibn Sina is still on the high tower, immersed in the ocean of knowledge. Medea asked Alice to call Elena and Helena to the place where they secretly taught witch magic. The 3 Alice sisters came to the place where they met, and Medea brought them the little element. The 3 sisters were very happy, especially Alice, who played with Xiaoyuan all day long and forgot to eat. The mother and daughter of Medea gradually learned how to manipulate small elements, and Alice was the first to discover the method of integrating with elements. Alice introduced 5 stingy elements into her body, so that Alice merged with the gas element. Subsequently, Alice introduced 3 small water elements into Elena's body and 4 small fire elements into Helena's body. Medea also wanted to import the remaining 2 earth elements into her body, but at this moment, the tower city sounded an alarm bell. It turned out that the magician Austin and the elemental agents of Elemental Island rushed into the tower city and discovered the sorcerer Ibn Sina on the highest tower. Austin asked, "Respected Master Ibn Sina, can Medea be in the tower city?" "Medea is my wife." "What are you looking for her for?" Ibn Sina said. The irritable element of fire made Fairy say, "Ibn Sina, why did you let your wife steal our element? What do you mean by this? Medea has been inside the tower city all along. Besides, Medea's body is weak, how can she steal powerful elements?" "You're still arguing for her," so you said, "so don't blame us for being impolite." The 4 elements drive the elements to rush forward, but Austin cannot stop them. Ibn Sina did not have a divine ring on his body, and knowing that he could not defeat them, he rang the alarm bell. I don't know what happened to Ibrahimovich's life. Please take a look at the next section. 6. Xiamu Grassland. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The White Witch Medea heard the alarm bells of the tower city and stopped her magical manipulation of blending with the little earth element, handing it over to Alice. She flew on a flying carpet towards the tower where Ibn Sina was located, looking inside and outside the window, and saw the wizard Austin from the Holy Mountain School of Witchcraft and Wizardry holding a magic ball. Medea was so surprised that she quickly let the flying carpet turn and flew back to Alice's 3 sisters. At this point, Alice had already introduced 2 small earth elements into her body. Medea took off the divine ring from her hand and put it on Alice's left thumb, hastily telling the summoning ring god the spell. Then she said to Alice, Elena, and Helena, "Get on the flying carpet, get out of here quickly, be quick." While sitting on the flying carpet, the 3 sisters asked Medea, "What's wrong, Mom?" "A ferocious magician has arrived, and he said that both our mother and daughter are witches who want to kill us." Medea said, "Let's go quickly. I want to go back and save your father. If my parents don't come back to find you, it means we're already dead. Go." Medea and the 3 sisters of Alice said goodbye with tears, and the flying carpet took the 3 sisters of Alice to the north. Medea returned to the tower city, and by this time Ibn Sina had been beaten and bruised by the elements of the elemental city. Soon, he was pushed down from the tower by a tall earth element. The earth elemental envoy Soyu and the air elemental envoy Guys went over to repair their swords, and the sorcerer Ibn Sina of Tongluo Island died like this. Medea met the magician Austin again, and the new and old grudges of Ivan and Ibn Sina intertwined. Medea angrily forced out all the witch magic on her body, spitting out a tree root from her mouth and stabbing it directly at Austin's heart. Austin's chest dripped a lot of blood. Austin quickly recited a spell, unleashing the magic of the magic ball in his hand, preventing the tree roots from continuing to pierce his heart. The magic in the magic ball seems endless, not only preventing the tree roots from continuing to pierce the heart, but also pulling them out. Austin saved his life like this. A fire element next to Austin threw a fireball, burning down the tree root that Medea had spit out, and Medea was severely injured. Then a water element froze Medea's feet, preventing her from escaping. At this moment, Austin suppressed the pain of his chest wound and attacked Medea with the power of a magic ball. I saw Medea screaming incessantly, her voice becoming increasingly low and ferocious. Her skin became withered and wrinkled, her teeth turned yellow and pointed, and even fell off. Her eyes were sunken, her nose pointed, her hair turned white, and she looked like a black witch. Soon, Medea couldn't withstand the power of the magic ball and died. Austin and elementalists did not find the ring of God, nor did they find the stolen little element. The water element made Walter say, "Strange, where is the god's ring?" That day, this witch stole the little element with the god's ring. The fire element made Phil search the entire Tower City, but he couldn't find the lost small element. Austin was seriously injured and hurriedly returned to the Holy Mountain to recuperate. So much so that for a long time in the future, he did not take a step out of the magic school. Speaking of which, the flying carpet took Alice, Elena, and Helena and flew north, arriving at the boundless Siam Grassland. The three Alice sisters spent a day and a night on the flying carpet. They were very hungry, but the prairie was beyond sight. After flying so far, that wicked wizard should not be able to catch up with them. Alice thought so and decided to stop and get some food. There are abundant wild vegetables and fruits on this grassland to satisfy hunger. But the three sisters lived a comfortable life in Tacheng. They didn't know that these wild vegetables and fruits could be eaten. The three sisters looked for food separately. 16-year-old Alice searched for a long time, but found nothing except wild vegetables and fruits. She tried to take a bite of the wild vegetable, it was very bitter, and her sister definitely couldn't eat it. After a while, she finally caught a prairie mouse. At this moment, she heard a rumbling sound behind her and turned around to see a cavalry team of grassland nomadic tribes roaring past. When the cavalry team left, Alice returned to the place where she had taken the flying carpet, but couldn't find Elena and Helena. Alice sat on the flying carpet and searched around, constantly calling out the names of Elena and Helena, but there was no response. Alice was so anxious that she forgot the ring of the god's ring. The god could help her. By chance, Alice discovered a large number of hoof marks, which were left by the cavalry team just now. Alice followed the footprints of the horses' hooves and walked forward. After walking for a while, she found some tents in front of her. Outside the tents, there were many flocks of sheep and cows. The herding boys rode horses and sang pastoral songs, occasionally waving their long whips to drive the cows and sheep who were about to leave back to their herds. A shepherd boy noticed Alice and rode forward, asking, "Who are you? Which tribe are you from? What are you doing here?" "My name is Alice, Yu reading www.yuukangshu.net is from Tacheng. I'm looking for my two sisters, and we got lost." The young shepherd boy didn't know where Tacheng was, but he heard Alice looking for her sister and said to her, "You go to that tent and find our chieftain, see if he can help you." The shepherd boy pointed to the largest tent in the middle. Alice thanked her, entered the tent, and found the chief to talk to. "How old are your two sisters and what are their characteristics?" the chief asked. "Elena is 13 years old with silver hair, Helena is 11 years old with red hair. Since Elena and little water elements merged, her hair has turned silver white and her skin has also become milky white. After Helena merged with the element of small fire, her hair turned red and her skin turned dark bronze." "I will send someone to find it," the chief said. "You must be hungry. Let's eat something first." The chieftain entertained Alice with roasted lamb and fresh milk. After Alice was full, the chieftain came over and said, "Good child, we haven't found your sister. It's getting late now, so you can stay here overnight and continue searching tomorrow." Alice stayed here all night, and the next day, everyone searched all morning but couldn't find Elena and Helena. The chief saw Alice's impatience and said, "Child, there were people from the Iron Cavalry Department who came to us yesterday. They are heading west. They are a large group of people and cannot walk quickly. You can go and look for them." "At this point, we can only give it a try," Alice said. "Child, take these beef jerkies with you. Our light song department didn't help you find your sister, so we'll give you these foods. Don't go hungry on the way," said the chieftain. Alice thanked the chieftain of the light song department and took the beef jerky on her way. I wonder if Alice can find her sister. Please take a look at the next section. 7. Shaman. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Where are Alice's sisters Elena and Helena? It turned out that the three sisters got off the flying carpet that day and went to look for food separately. Elena and Helena are certainly not interested in wild fruits and vegetables. Suddenly, 2 grassland rabbits appeared in front of them, and Elena and Helena went after them, each chasing one. Afterwards, the nomadic cavalry team flew by, and Elena and Helena lay down on the spot. The cavalry team happened to pass between them, and Elena and Helena ran in the opposite direction, and they separated like this. The sky was getting darker and darker, and Elena and Helena were running around, hungry and unable to manage so much. They could grab some wild fruits and vegetables, even if they were unpleasant, they had to eat them. Just wandering around like this, Elena and Helena each went to different nomadic tribes. At this time, a plague broke out on the grassland, and many tribes were infected, many people were infected with diseases, and many people died of illness. On the edge of a lake, the fish skin department, like in previous years, is fishing on the lake. Some people are casting nets, while others are using harpoons. After a day of hard work, they have harvested a lot of fish, shrimp, and aquatic products. In previous years, these catches were enough to feed their own tribes, and the excess could be sold to other tribes. However, many people in the tribe have been infected with the epidemic this year, and there are fewer people who can go out to fish. The catch is not enough to eat the skin of the fish. At this moment, tired and hungry Elena also came to the lake. Seeing so many fish, she prayed to these fishermen to give her some fish to eat. A fisherman said, "Child, I think you must be hungry. But the fish in this lake belong to the fish skin department. I want to ask the tribe's Chanyu and chieftain, and if they agree, they can give you food." The fisherman walked into the largest tent, and Blackwater Chanyu from the fish skin department sat in the middle. On his left side sat the shaman he had invited from the symbol department, and on his right side sat 2 chiefs. One of the chiefs, named Netizen, saw the fisherman come in and asked what was going on. The fisherman explained Elena's request to eat fish to Chanyu and the chief. As Heishui Chanyu was about to agree, the shaman next to him said, "Be careful, this is the time of the outbreak of the epidemic, and we cannot let any suspicious people go." Then he asked the fisherman, "Is that girl still here? Show me." The fisherman pointed his finger at Elena outside the tent. The shaman looked at Elena in the direction of the fisherman's finger and said, "At a young age, with white hair all over her head and a pale complexion, it's an ominous sign. Respected Blackwater Chanyu, I suggest sacrificing this girl to the lake god to appease his anger and end this plague." Chief Netizen said to Blackwater Chanyu, "Chanyu, please think twice. If we sacrifice this girl, the epidemic will not subside yet. This girl is innocent." "The plague is rampant," said Blackwater Chanyu. "Even Chief Golden Hook is bedridden, and our catch is insufficient. How can we live up to the Siam League? If there is any other way, I won't come up with such a plan. Let this girl calm the anger of the lake god." As a result, the people from the fish skin department threw Elena into the lake, and everyone watched as Elena sank into the lake. Chanyu kept praying, while the shaman danced and practiced. Elena fell into the lake, feeling frightened and struggling non-stop. In this way, the pressure and struggle of the lake awakened the water element in Elena's body. A huge vortex formed in the center of the lake, and water elements dragged Elena out of the vortex. The Chanyu, chieftain, shaman, and members of the fish skin department on site were all frightened and quickly bowed to Elena, requesting forgiveness. Elena manipulated the water element and used a high-pressure water column to hit the shaman, who was killed. Blackwater Chanyu trembled with fear and said, "Hushan, Hushan, Hushan. Please forgive your loyal Blackwater." Chief Netizen and the fisherman just now offered a basket of fish to Elena and asked for forgiveness. Irina said, "I'm Irina, not some lake god." "Noble Elena," said Blackwater Chanyu, "if you have any instructions, just give them to us. Our fish skin department will definitely follow them." "Blackwater, don't be a Chanyu anymore. Let the netizen take on the role of Chanyu. This basket fisherman is promoted to chieftain," Elena said. "Blackwater, from today on, you will be fishing 100 fish every day to offer to me." The fish skin department followed Elena's instructions completely. Yu reading www.yuyukangshu.net. Elena finally ate the hot and baked fish, filling her stomach. Helena walked to the Red Sun, where there was also a plague. Helena had just entered the Red Sun when she was caught and tied tightly with ropes. The person who caught Helena said to their hot-hearted Chanyu, "Respected Chanyu, we remember what the shaman said and have captured this suspicious figure who caused the epidemic." Rejong Chanyu carefully looked at Helena, and this girl with dark skin and crimson hair did look strange. Not to mention the Xiamu Grassland, even the entire continent of Tongluo could not find such a person. "Okay, burn her and offer it to the blood god," said Re-gang Chanyu. The Red Sun team pushed Helena outside the tent, carried firewood, and set up a pile of firewood. Re-gang Chanyu said to himself, "This epidemic is too severe. 2 out of 3 chiefs in our Red Sun tribe have been infected. I hope this strange girl is really the source of the epidemic." "Chanyu, the firewood pile has been set up." Rejong Chanyu picked up the torch and silently prayed to the blood god in his mouth, eliminating the plague and keeping his blood flowing. The members of the Red Sun formed a circle to watch the sacrificial ceremony. I saw Rejong Chanyu lighting the torch in his hand on the firewood pile, and the raging bonfire ignited. Helena screamed at the top of her lungs, struggling non-stop. Driven by the high temperature of the flames and the power of struggle, the fire element in Helena's body was awakened. The element of fire threw a flame towards the hot air, and the hot air was actually burned to death, and Helena remained unscathed. The members of the Red Sun tribe were greatly surprised and all bowed to Helena, respecting her as a god. Under Helena's instructions, the Red Sun department selected a new Chanyu Jingshue Chanyu and allowed Helena to have a full meal. Elena and Helena's situation is like this, so what kind of adventure did Alice have? Please take a look at the next section. 8. Iron Cavalry Department. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Alice left the light song department and headed west, camping and sleeping all the way. After walking for 2 days, she finally discovered the huge cavalry team of the Iron Cavalry Department. The cavalry of the Iron Cavalry Department is resting, leading their horses to the pool to drink water. Alice approached the pool and asked a rider who was drinking water for a horse, "Brother rider, have you seen a silver-haired girl and a red-haired girl?" "They are my sisters." "I haven't seen it," the rider said. "You can go to the Chinese military tent and ask." Alice walked into the Chinese military tent, and in the center sat a muscular man with a money mouse tail hairstyle. On either side of the man sat 12 chiefs on the ground. A chieftain said to the strong man, "Reply, yesterday I received news that the Khan of the Alliance, Zali, has passed away. This winter, the Aoda Conference will be held to elect a new Khan." Another chieftain said, "Our Chanyu is a popular candidate for the new Khan. On the Siam Grassland, who else can match the Iron Hand Chanyu? Let's take up the mare's milk wine in our hands and toast our Chanyu." 12 chiefs stood up, picked up their glasses, toasted the robust man, and drank it all in one gulp. The robust man also stood up and drank the mare's milk wine in one gulp. Then he said, I will demonstrate my skills at the Aoda Conference and strive for the position of Khan. I will not disappoint the expectations of the chieftains and followers of the Iron Cavalry Department. However, the candidates for the position of Khan this time cannot be underestimated, especially the Han Yin Chanyu from the Control String Department, who has excellent skills. Alice watched as they discussed, her sturdy body and selfless demeanor captivating her. At this moment, Iron Hand Chanyu also saw Alice, a foreign girl with blonde hair and blue eyes, with a straight figure, which caught Iron Hand's attention. "Where are you from, girl? What are you doing here?" said a chieftain. "I'm Alice, I'm here to find my sister. I'm very sorry to disturb your conversation." "It's okay," Iron Hand Chanyu said. "It's our duty as riders to help girls like you. You can tell us about your sister's appearance and the process of separation, and our Iron Cavalry Department can help you find the stray lamb." Alice spoke about the appearance of Elena and Helena, as well as their scattered experiences on the grassland. Without saying a word, Iron Hand Chanyu immediately instructed all the chiefs to let the troops find someone. The next day, the members of the Iron Cavalry did not find Elena and Helena. Seeing Alice feeling a bit disappointed, Iron Hand Chanyu said, "Don't worry, the Siam Grassland is so big, maybe your sister has already gone to another tribe." After a while, a rider delivered a message. "Dear Chanyu, this is the news that I personally discovered. The Control Cord Department has reached a private deal with the Symbol Department to jointly support Hanin Chanyu in competing for the position of Khan. If successful, it will ensure the noble status of the shamans." "Ah!" Iron Hand Chanyu said, "They formed an alliance to deal with our Iron Cavalry Department." Not long after, another rider who was inquiring about the news returned and said, "Respected Chanyu, the Wild Wolf Department supports the Control String Department's Han In Chanyu in the competition for the position of Khan." This news dealt a greater blow to Iron Hand Chanyu than the previous one. How could it be? Iron Hand said, "Jeshue Chanyu from the Wild Wolf Department is my best friend on the grassland. How could he possibly betray me? Please mourn Chanyu's death," said the scout rider. "Jeshue Chanyu has already passed away." "Ah! What's going on?" Hanin Chanyu, the string controller, invented a sound dysprosium arrow that emits a loud sound when fired, said the scout rider. Hanin trained his troops with the sound dysprosium arrow. When the sound dysprosium arrow was fired, his troops had to shoot in the direction of the sound dysprosium arrow. If they did not comply, they would be killed on the spot. Therefore, a cold-blooded cavalry and archery unit was trained. Han Yin knew that Jeshue Chanyu from the Wild Wolf Division would definitely support Chanyu, so she brought her cavalry and archery troops to the Wild Wolf Division. Han Yin fired a sound dysprosium arrow at Jeshue, and the String Control Department fired 10,000 arrows in unison. Jeshue died under the chaotic arrows. The Iron Hand fiercely struck the ground with a hammer and said, "This cold sound that should be cut 1,000 times." Han Yin manipulated the Wild Wolf Division to select Yenya as Chanyu. Yenya Chanyu not only did not seek revenge for Jeshue, but also announced his support for Han Yin's competition for the position of Khan. Iron Hand Chanyu urgently summoned 12 headquarters chiefs and said, "The Control Department is already eyeing the Khan's throne. We must hurry to the venue of the Aoda Conference to avoid long dreams at night." The Iron Cavalry Department immediately set off and continued westward, heading towards the venue of the Aoda Conference. The matter of finding Alice's sister will be temporarily put on hold. Iron-Handed admires Alice and takes her along on the road. He said to her, "I'll fight for the Khan. If I become a Khan, I can do anything, including finding your lost sister." Alice had no choice but to follow the cavalry and head west. 3 days later, the cavalry arrived at a grassland with a comfortable climate and winding rivers. It is already the late autumn season, and the grass is withered and yellow, creating a vast and solemn scene. Other tribes have already arrived first and are stationed here. Iron Hand Chanyu looked at this place with Alice and said, "Miss Alice, look, there are many tall horse-drawn carts with wheels next to this tribe, which must be the Imperial Yuan department. Looking across the river, there are many oars and furnaces, which must be the molten stone department. Most of the weapons and equipment on our grassland are made by them. Iron-handed Chanyu and Alice first went to visit the Imperial Yuan department. At the entrance of the main tent, Iron Hand Chanyu asked a man, "I am Iron Hand Chanyu from the Iron Cavalry department. May I ask if your newly selected Chanyu is inside?" "Now it's Jima Chanyu leading us, and he's inside," the man said. Iron Hand and Alice walked into the tent and chatted with the swift horse. "I, the Iron Cavalry department, deeply regret the return of Khan Dai Li to heaven. During his tenure as Khan Dai Li, your department first promoted harmonious communication among various tribes on the grassland, and also strengthened the grassland's foreign trade and economic cooperation. He is a respected Khan. But some tribes don't think so," said Jima Chanyu. "Grassland people are inherently combative and cannot tolerate this kind of weakness. Tribes like the Wild Wolf, Control String, Red Sun, and your Iron Cavalry are all aggressive. Our Iron Cavalry department is well-founded and won't provoke trouble for no reason." Iron Hand was a bit angry, but this topic was not good, so he changed the topic again. Carrying profits with Khan is still in his prime, how could he suddenly return to heaven? Jima sighed and said, "It wasn't this fierce epidemic that caused it. We must have angered the god of the grassland and brought down this great epidemic, even our Khan couldn't escape." Jima asked Tai Shou to eat cheese and continued, "When the talisman department arrives, go ask the Shaman Grand Priest how to calm the anger of the gods." Iron Hand thought that the symbol department had already formed an alliance with the control cord department, and that the Khan of Sueli had died due to the epidemic. The symbol department would definitely make remarks that were detrimental to the Iron Cavalry department. Iron Hand and Quick Horse briefly exchanged a few more words before returning to the Iron Cavalry department with Alice. Alice looked worried when she saw Iron Hand leave the Imperial Yuan department and asked, "Is Chanyu worried about the shaman's demonic words from the symbol department deceiving the people?" Iron-Handed looked at Alice and nodded. Alice said, "Don't worry, I have learned a lot in Tower City and know how to deal with epidemics. I will help you obtain sweat." Iron Hands were skeptical and didn't say anything. That night, the symbol department rushed to the scene. At dawn, the string control also arrived. After dawn, the Chanyu and chieftains of various tribes gathered around the shaman priest and other shamans of the Shifu tribe to inquire about the method of producing the new Khan, as well as ways to eliminate the anger of the gods and eliminate the plague. How do the shamans make a decision? Please take a look at the next section. 9. Aoda Conference. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Amidst the onlookers and inquiries, the shaman of the Ministry of Talismans said, "The grassland is unfortunate. I don't know who has angered the god of the grassland and brought down this boundless plague. Even our beloved Khan, who carried us with him, has taken him away. I, the spiritual priest, will bathe and burn incense, and communicate with the god of the grassland. Today, I will work hard with all the shamans to set up an altar. After I communicate with the gods, I will tell everyone the will of the god." During the installation of an altar by the shamans in the Ministry of Talismans, the Wild Wolf Department also arrived at the site of the Aoda Conference. Iron-Handed Chanyu first met with Yenya Chanyu from the Wild Wolf Division and asked him why he didn't seek revenge for Jieshue. "The matter of Jieshue Chanyu is the matter of our Wild Wolf Department," said Yenya. "You'd better not interfere or ask any questions." Iron Fists were so angry that they swung their fists, gritted their teeth, and let out a whistle. Over a dozen well-trained wolves walked into the tent. Iron Hand put down his fist and said, "Bite your teeth, let's wait and see." Then he left the wolf department. After the ceremony of communicating with the gods was completed by the spiritual master, he said to the Chanyu and chieftains of the various tribes of Xiamu, "The plague is raging, and the grasslands are injured. Those who can entertain the gods and shine on Xiamu will be conferred the title of Khan. Tomorrow, At an auspicious time, the Oda assembly will be held. The next day, the grassland people surrounded a piece of grassland by the bend of the river, piled up stones, lit bonfires, and raised colorful flags. Outside the open space, tents were set up for the various tribes of Xiamu. The shaman priest from the Ministry of Talismans presides over the Oda assembly through spiritual communication. He prays to various deities on the grassland and then announces the rules of the martial arts competition. Sitting below were Chanyu and chieftains from various parts of the grassland, while others gathered around the tent to watch. At this moment, the members of the Light Song Department hurriedly arrived at the scene, and Jia Lu Chanyu and 4 chiefs of the Light Song Department arrived below the stage. "Why is the Light Song section late?" asked Hanin Chanyu, who controlled the strings. Jia Lu Chanyu said, "Our Light Song Department is going to drive the cattle and sheep to the winter pasture, so it's late." "People from the Light Song Department, please take your seats," said the Great Master of Spiritual Communication. "Our martial arts competition is about to begin." "Grand Master, the people from the Fish Skin and Red Sun tribes haven't arrived yet. Do you still have to wait a little longer?" Han Yin said. "Then wait a little longer," said the psychic. After waiting for an hour, the Iron Rider from the Iron Cavalry Department, Shan Yu, said, "Master, if we don't start the martial arts competition again, we will miss the auspicious time." The Great Spirit Master was about to announce the start of the martial arts competition when Han Yin said, "The Fish Skin Department and the Red Sun Department are also members of the Alliance. Without these 2 important members, the gods will be angry." Then she gave the Great Spirit Master a glance. According to the rules of the Oda Assembly, missing the martial arts competition will automatically give up the position of Khan. Iron Hand said, "Missing the auspicious time will make the gods even more angry." Originally, Han Yin and Tong Ling had secret dealings with the Blackwater and Hot Gang of the Fish Skin Department, and wanted them to interfere with Iron Hand during the martial arts competition. Therefore, Han Yin was still waiting for these 2 tribes. The tribes below agreed with Iron Hand's words and urged them to start the martial arts competition. Unable to withstand the pressure, the psychic had to announce the start of the martial arts competition. The contestants in the competition include the Ill Horse from the Yuyuan Division, the Cold Sound from the Control Cord Division, the Iron Hand from the Iron Cavalry Division, the Jia Lu from the Light Song Division, the Bull from the Molten Stone Division, and the Bite Teeth from the Wild Wolf Division. In the first round of the equestrian shooting competition, 3 targets need to be shot while riding quickly. Ranked by the total number of rings, the top 4 will enter the second round of the competition. This is the strength of the String Control Department. Han Yin Chanyu hit 10 rings with all 3 arrows, ranking first with a total of 30 rings. Tai Shou Shan has 10 points on the first arrow and 9 points on the second arrow. When the third arrow is fired, it appears to be off target. Alice, who was watching beside her, secretly manipulated the wind element and blew a gust of wind, blowing the third arrow of Iron Hand towards the bullseye and hitting 10 rings. Advanced to the next round with a total of 29 rings. Han Yin Chanyu frowned, feeling a bit strange, but not sure if he said that Iron Hand was cheating. Han Yin, Tai Shou, Yenya, and Man Nyo enter the second round of competition to test their strength. At the bottom of a grassland slope, there are 4 huge axles provided by the imperial shaft. Contestants are required to lift their axles from the bottom of the slope to the top of the slope. During the process, the axles cannot land on the ground. The first 2 contestants who lift their axles to the top of the slope will advance to the third round of the competition. Under the command of the shaman's great priest, 4 contestants lifted their axles and sprinted towards the mountaintop. The wild wolf swallowing tooth Danyu deviated from the track and ran to the front of Iron Hand Danyu, blocking Iron Hand's progress. At this point, Han Yin Chanyu was far ahead. The members of the Iron Cavalry immediately understood that this was a sinister move by the Control Cord and the Wild Wolf, and protested, but the Great Spirit Master ignored it. Alice had no choice but to make a secret move again, causing the earth element to lift up a piece of soil in front of the devouring tooth, tripping it over. Iron Hand surpassed Biting Teeth, sprinting with all their might. At this point, Han Yin had already reached the finish line, and Yu reading www.yuyukangshu.net clenched his teeth and sprinted forward, finally surpassing the bull and advancing to the third round of the competition before reaching the mountaintop. Han Yin gave Iron Hand a fierce glance and then turned his head to give a glance to the great spirit master. The psychic said, "In the next competition of horse martial arts, the contestants will control the strings of Han Yin Chanyu and the iron cavalry of Tai Shou Chanyu." "Wait a minute," Iron Hand said, "why isn't the third round a wrestling?" Wrestling was a classic part of the martial arts competition at the previous Aoda Conference, but it was Han Yin's weakness, so he and the spiritual master arranged it first and did not compete in wrestling. The psychic said, "Just now I was communicating with the deity, and the deity was very angry. The deity said not to provoke the deity anymore, and I don't want to see wrestling competitions this year. Everyone in the audience is discussing, and wrestling competitions are meant to entertain the gods. How could they provoke the gods?" Amidst the chatter of the crowd, the psychic announced the start of the third round of competition. Iron-handed Chanyu picked up his spear, rode off a black horse, and arrived at the racetrack. Han Yin rode a white horse, holding a long sword and a pair of bows and arrows on the saddle. The two Chanyu clashed on horseback, their spears clashing with their swords, sparking sparks. In no time, Han Yin feigned defeat and turned back to the horse's head before running away. The Iron Hand urged the horse to chase, and Han Yin secretly took out a bow and arrow, turned around and shot an arrow. Iron Hand had long anticipated that Han Yin would use this move, and with a flick of the arrow with a spear, the move was resolved. Seeing this, Han Yin was about to use his ultimate move and secretly took out the sound dysprosium arrow. Another round shot, the sound of the dysprosium arrow departing from the string, accompanied by a whistling sound. The string control soldiers sitting at the Aoda Conference, like conditioned reflexes, took out their bows and arrows one after another, and shot the arrows in the direction of the sound arrow flying towards them. Some soldiers even shoot a string of arrows. Suddenly, thousands of sharp arrows shot towards Iron Hand Chanyu, unsure of his life. Please take a look at the next section. 10. Changing hexagrams. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The Aoda Grand Competition has arrived at the crucial third round of competition, where the String Control Department Han Yin Chanyu and the Iron Cavalry Department Tai Shou Chanyu compete in horse martial arts. In order to achieve victory, Han Yin resorted to any means and fired a sound dysprosium arrow. The soldier in the String Control Department followed and shot the arrow towards Iron Hand. At this critical moment, Alice quickly summoned the elemental energy and came behind the Iron Hand. She breathed a hard breath, blowing all the arrows aimed at the Iron Hand off target, and the Iron Hand avoided danger. Iron Hands were furious at the Yin move caused by the cold sound, so they rode their horses towards the cold sound. Han Yin was shocked to see the sound of the dysprosium arrow malfunctioning. Before he could react, Iron Hand had already approached him, raised his spear, and in one fell swoop, stabbed Han Yin off the horse. Iron Hands clapped their arms and cheered, and all members of the Iron Cavalry Department were also celebrating. The Shaman's great priest, who was in charge of spiritual communication and string control, rushed towards Han Yin Khan. Han Yin was stabbed in the chest with a spear and quickly died. The spiritual master walked back onto the stage and made a gesture to make everyone quiet. The venue quieted down and the spiritual channel said, "The martial arts competition just now was a ritual for entertaining the gods. When the competition saw blood, the gods must be very happy. Next is the ceremony for selecting the Khan." "What?" Iron Hand walked towards Tongling. "Khan has always been selected through martial arts competitions. I have won the competition, and I am the Khan of Xiamu Grassland." Iron Hand Khan. Iron Hand Khan, shouted the people from the Iron Cavalry Department. The teleportation once again signaled for everyone to be quiet, and then said, "Now, compared to the past, the plague is raging. Before the conference, the god of the grassland communicated with me. Whoever can eliminate the plague is the Khan of this year. Iron Hand became angry and said, I dare to ask the great master of spiritual communication, how can you prove that what you said is true? Among all the grassland children present, who has heard that the gods want to eliminate the plague to elect a Khan? The words of the great master of spiritual communication just now are just lies. Dare, said the psychic, Iron Hand, how dare you slander the gods? I know why the gods are angry and why they have descended a plague. It's someone like you who disrespects the gods. Don't think no one knows that you played tricks in the competition with Han In Chanyu just now. There was a transparent humanoid monster standing behind you. Huh, Iron Hand said to everyone, you heard me, the psychic shaman is talking nonsense. But the people of the grasslands were intimidated by God, and few responded with iron hands. Alice walked up to Iron Hand and whispered, don't worry, it's just about eliminating the plague. Just do as I say, you can eliminate the plague and win the Khan. Iron Hand walked towards the teleportation again and gently said, I will select the Khan according to the method you said. After that, he turned around and returned to his seat to sit down. As the teleportation was about to announce the method of selecting the Khan, dust suddenly flew in the east and people saw the flags of the Fish Skin and Red Sun tribes. When the members of the Fish Skin and Red Sun tribes walked into the venue, the Great Spirit Master scolded them for missing the battle at the Oda Assembly, and the members of the Control String and Wild Wolf tribes also came to blame them. Why are you only here now? Where are Blackwater Chanyu and Hot Gang Chanyu? Said Yenya Chanyu from the Wild Wolf Division. Blackwater is no longer Chanyu, the current Fish Skin Department is led by my internet fanatic Chanyu, said the leader of the Fish Skin Department. Rejong Chanyu is already dead, I am Jingxue Chanyu, said the leader of the Red Sun tribe. What happened? Biting his teeth, he asked. Our gods abandoned us, and now we each worship a new god, said Jingxue. You have turned the other way. The spiritual master was furious, how can you betray the god of the grassland? Netizen stood up and said, previously, our fish skin department served the grassland gods and lake gods, but we have never seen gods before. This time, we saw the water gods appear with our own eyes, so we converted to water gods. Jingxue said. The situation in our Red Sun department is similar. The plague is rampant. The grassland gods and the blood gods are not visible, but we personally came into contact with the fire god. What you see are demons, not gods, said the psychic. Only shamans can see gods and communicate with them. You'd better not slander our god, he has a bad temper, said the netizen. Okay, let me ask you, said the psychic, has the plague in your tribe disappeared? Netizens and Jingxue looked at each other but didn't speak. The plague is still spreading, isn't it? Said the psychic, only shamans in the talisman department can use the power of God to eliminate the plague. The implication is that eliminating the plague in the symbol department will make the psychic become a Khan. Yu reading www.yuukangshu.net. Alice heard this and patted Iron Hand Chanyu with her hand. Iron Hand walked over and said, Netizens and Jingxue, the two Chanyu. My Iron Cavalry department can help your tribe eliminate the plague. Then he turned to Tongling and said, Great Master, do you dare to compare yourself with me? If we eliminate the plague in the Fish Skin department and the Red Sun department, let me be the Khan. If we fail, you can take the Khan's position. After listening, the psychic burst out laughing and said, You are comparing your own shortcomings with our strengths. There is no reason why you dare not compare. The new competition for the Khan has begun, and the Iron Hand has placed all their hopes on Alice. Alice first asked the members of the Iron Cavalry department to go to the Fish Skin department and the Red Sun department to check the situation. After understanding the situation, Alice prescribed a prescription and instructed Iron Hand to instruct her subordinates to boil medicine and give it to all sick people. Let the soldiers of the Iron Cavalry department clear the hygiene blind spots of the two tribes, promptly clean up human and animal feces, eliminate accumulated water, and eliminate mosquitoes. In less than 10 days, the plague in the Fish Skin and Red Sun sectors disappeared. The plague has been eradicated, Iron Hand said to Tong Lingdao, I can now bestow the title of Khan. The spiritual shaman had no other excuse left, so he reluctantly let Iron Hand obtain the title of Khan and lead the entire Xiamu Grassland. Chanyu and chiefs from various tribes on the grassland came to celebrate with the Iron Hand Khan. Among them, Yinya Chanyu from the Wild Wolf Division deliberately stayed behind. After everyone left, he said to the Iron Hand Khan, Respected Khan, you have offended me a lot before, but it was Han Yin Khan who forced me to join forces to control the String Division. He killed Jieshue with the Sound Dysprosium arrow and threatened me with the Sound Dysprosium arrow. I had to agree to his request. Khan, given the friendly relationship between the Iron Horse Division and the Wild Wolf Division for many years, give me a chance to correct my mistake. How does Iron Hand Khan treat tooth-eating Chanyu? Please take a look at the next section.